Colin Stanbridge is Chief Executive of the London Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So, Colin, the Federation for Small Businesses has put a figure on the cost of this dispute at £300 million. Do you recognise that figure?
Yes, it sounds like a bit of a apology to say I don't recognise that figure. It's certainly the case that it runs into tens of millions. It's a bit of a mug's game trying to predict, what those cost is, because if you think about, what's the sector that's been most hit today? Probably Oxford Street, Regent Street, the shopping street. Well, you could put a figure on the lost sales there, but who knows whether those lost sales are going to be, recouped later in the week when there isn't a strike. But there's no doubt tens of millions of pounds, just in terms of lost productivity, people being late, and not to mention people's demeanour. I've just walked across a bridge to get here in the rain, through the crowds, as they queue to get on a bus or queue to get into a tube station, the ones that are open. And there are a couple, there are quite a number open. And you just think the effect it's having on them and, their attitude towards work and how long do they really want to make that sort of journey if there was an alternative.
I guess the good news, such as it is that this isn't at the height of the tourist season. There aren't too many tourists around London right now.
The problem is that, I've, as you might expect, done quite a lot of television interviews today about this, and I suspect, not me necessarily, but the pictures of what we've just seen on your programme will be going around the world. And if you were a tourist, you might be thinking, oh, gosh, I didn't realise London was like that. I think for us, as a business organisation, as the Chamber of Commerce, our fear is that as we sort of come to terms with Brexit, and there's no doubt, London companies will make the best of Brexit, even if though, they voted 60-40, that's a pretty hefty majority to stay in the EU, so they're coming to terms with that. But they'll make up the fist of it. We still need to fight, as the uncertainty continues, as, people think about making investment decisions from India, from America, or whatever it is, to keep our place as a world city, a place where you want to set up your business. And I think that having that sort of message going around, and we've had the Southern Rail go on for weeks, months, whatever it is, and this on top of that, I think it's just a terrible time for that message to go across the world. That London somehow isn't open for business, when our slogan is, London is open for business.
Now, you've met the Rail Minister today to discuss the Southern dispute.
Yeah.
What have you heard there from the government today? And also, do you think the unions are coordinating all this strike action?
Well, the government says that they're doing... we were delighted the Rail Minister found the time to see us on a day like this. And they tell us that the Rail Minister told us, and I believe him, that they're doing all they can. Of course, it's a dispute, really, between a company and the union. So they are hampered in that way, but they say that they are trying to do all that they can to solve this situation. My fear is that it becomes, and I don't want to be over-dramatic about this, but it becomes a sort of Tory party's miners' strike, that, somehow whether people are on the union side are trying to make it into some sort of winter of discontent or take on the government, that we'll find ourselves in entrenched positions where no side can back over. So actually, the dispute, which is said to be about safety, said to be about opening doors and automation of trains, turns into a political dispute, and then it's the poor business, the poor
is that
citizen.
Yeah, but is that enough for the Rail Minister to just say we're doing all we can? I mean, did he not give you any sort of concrete actions?
Well, he did give us a number of concrete things that they were trying to do, and I think the message that came from them is that they didn't feel the unions wanted to talk to them, even when money was on the table.
Really? So is there a case for outlawing strike action on public transport then?
I've said all along in this job that people have a right to strike. I would be very much against the idea of withdrawing that right to strike. However, with rights come responsibilities. And if it does turn out, and I've no idea whether it's the case, but if it really did turn out that somehow this was a political strike on behalf of ASLEF or the RMT, I think people like me would start to think again about whether you earn that right to strike and whether you can keep that right to strike.